Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another boxing, another offline product game review. This is CONSCRIPT, the Deluxe Edition for the PlayStation 5. To jump right into it, this physical copy here comes with the update version 1.1.0 right on the disc, but sadly there wasn't an update available. Its update size was 140 megabytes big and will take you to version 1.3.0 since the time making this video. Not like always, I play all my games completely offline with an unregistered account, and I didn't experience any massive game-breaking bugs and issues, and as well, I was still unlocking trophies with my unregistered account. But I do want to point out I did have some minor little hiccups, but I will point them out as I go through. Now, I do want to point out this Deluxe Edition does include the DLC with an asterisk to this, but I do want to point out when you first pop in the game, it does ask you if you want to install the DLC, which is like some Trench DLC as well as a Golden Gun pack, and this is just cosmetical stuff, but I do want to point out this content isn't actually on the disc. The Deluxe Edition includes the key to that DLC on the disc. When you pop it in, it won't pop up letting you know that DLC is available to you. The only way I was able to get the DLC to be available, I had to download the 140 megabyte update. So that tells me the content isn't actually on the disc, it's just the key. I talked about this before, sometimes developers don't actually put the DLC on disc, but they'll put the key on disc, and via an update or something like that, you download the content. It's a free download, it's just your normal update, and that puts the content on as the download. So that's really disappointing. Now granted, it's just cosmetical stuff, it's not that big of a deal, but it's still frustrating. So Deluxe Edition, you put the key on there, you really couldn't put the content on the disc, but I mean, it is disappointing. So I just wanted to point that out. The DLC is on the disc, so don't feel like you have to, there's no some redeem code or you have to pay for it. No, it's on the disc, it's just the key. You just got to download this free 140 megabyte update, and then the DLC becomes available to you. Next up, I did have a weird time when like artillery hits the ground or something like that. It's supposed to make an explosion sound, or I detonated some TNT and it explodes, but there's no sound effect. It happened 2 times throughout my experience where an explosion happened and it was clearly should be a sound for it, and there was no sound for it. Not the biggest of a deal, but it can be a little disappointing for that. As well as that the map pointer, when you activate your map, sometimes the little pointer you move around the map to see like where's this door, what's this door name or something like that, or this location. The pointer will sometimes like start off at the furthest end of on your map in the top left corner, and I had to drag it all the way down to figure out where I'm at. This happened randomly throughout my experience. It was just sometimes I open up my map and my pointer is all the way in the top left corner of the screen. I don't know why that is, but hey, it's not like interfering, it's just a little frustrating. It didn't happen a lot, but it happened quite a few times for me to definitely take quite notice to it. As well as that AI pathing. Sometimes AI pathing can be a little wonky. Sometimes like they run and then they stop, and then they run again and they stop, like they're trying to process what's their next action. It's a little funny how it does it, and sometimes you can like corral the enemy at moments, which can be a little disappointing, but sometimes it's kind of neat how it works. But I did have just one time where the AI kind of just stopped running, and I was just able just to keep shooting him, and he would not come after me, because I guess like I said, that moment where they run and they stop, apparently it bugged up and he just wouldn't keep running. That's why I find it a little funny that they run, they stop, they run, they stop. That's why I thought it's like some kind of like processing thing, and it's like I had one time where it completely bugged out where the AIs just stopped chasing. He just stood there. And now the next one is the biggest one. Now this one is a item freeze up where you get an inventory and you have an assortment of items like guns, health items, key items to unlock doors, and then you have special items that are like special items you can have in your inventory to give you a minor passive upgrade. Like if you carry this surgical doctor equipment on you, health items give you more health. If you have this book on you, your invasive roll is faster. Stuff like that. Disappointingly, those 2 passive items I just mentioned, and among other ones that may cause this problem, each item has like a slot where you can pick like use item, examine item, combine item, and stuff like that, or discard. If you go to combine item onto these doctor's surgical equipment or this book, the game freezes up, where the game straight up locks up and you can't do anything. I tried multiple combinations and ideas, and I could not have it happen, but every single time I used combine with that doctor surgical equipment in the book, it froze up every single time. It's like it completely locks up. You can't do anything. You can at least hit the PlayStation button, close out the application, and reboot it back up, but every single time I tried it multiple times, and it always froze up. Again, it could happen with other items, because I didn't find this bug issue to like near the end of the game, and I didn't check every single item, but any item that had a combine, like combining like a bandage with some alcohol to make disinfect and so on and so forth, I never had any other issues. And these two items I mentioned, the surgical equipment in this book, actually has no need to combine. So this is not like game breaking where it's like now you can't do something. There's literally no reason to combine these items at any point. So I can see how this bug probably got passed, because there's literally no reason to do this, but still, it's still a bug. So just keep that in mind. When it happened to me, sadly, I already put like 30 minutes or close to maybe 40, and I was about to get ready to save it, and I just did that, and the game froze up. I'm like, no, I lost all my progress. So just keep that in mind, that there could be other ones, but so I didn't find them, but I just know that Dr. Surgical Equipment and this evasive book teaching will lock up the game or freeze up the game every time you push the combine button on that item. And that's about it. Anything else I'm really going to talk about is more about my experience of the game. Now, it is disappointing. Like I said, this Deluxe Edition doesn't have the DLC on the disc. It's kind of buggy in certain little areas, but nothing tremendously off-putting. Like, I never had anything that prevented progression, like no NPC or no crashes, no freeze-ups, other than those combined item things I was talking about. But other than that, everything else ran pretty much butterly smooth. The overall experience was relatively good. Now, as my experience of the game, I'm darn impressed with this game. I actually really enjoyed this game. This is straight up a Resident Evil World War One game, where it takes place in World War One. You play as a character who's trying to find your brother and trying to protect them, and certain things happen, and now you're like trying to fight off the Germans, and you have to just basically survive. Then you get keys to get to a new location. You meet a merchant. You can sell, like with cigarettes, you sell and buy items. It's basically like Resident Evil 4, but with the skin of like Resident Evil, where you get keys and combine items to progress. But with the Resident Evil store, where you can upgrade weapons and sell items or sell treasures. And as well as a top-down kind of gameplay, because it's kind of like mixed with Darkwood, Resident Evil Classic, and Resident Evil 4 in terms of all of its combined mechanics. Now, there is no like supernatural aspects to the game. In terms of the overall experience, there's no zombies, there's no monsters, there's no ghosts or anything like that. It's just straight up a World War One experience, and I'm really glad for it. Now, granted, the game isn't really that scary. It tries a few times to be scary, but it's not really a scary game. But the overall gameplay experience is phenomenal. I really enjoyed the overall combat, the gameplay, the flow, the overall loop of the experience was all really good. And I can't praise that enough any more than I have. But there were some minor nitpicks that I have in the overall experience. First off, you do have a storage, like classic Resident Evil. If your items start piling up, you want to put items in your storage. There's no way to sort your storage, so all your items are just going to be bombed, or it'll just be a mess in your storage, which really frustrated me with somebody with minor OCD, and I like things being clean and in order. It really bugged me that you could probably do it if you had to take all the items out, put them back in, take them all out, put them back in to really organize the storage. But there was no item sort for the storage, and that irked me a little bit. As well as that, you do have ability to burn bodies, which is really cool. It tried to implement the classic Resident Evil GameCube, where like if you leave corpses around, rats will start picking at the bodies, and eventually bigger rats will spawn, and they're chasing you. They're hungry for fresh meat. So it's really interesting concept, and you burn the bodies kind of like classic Resident Evil style to get rid of the corpses. Rats wouldn't be interested in a body, even though I think they might prefer a cooked meat. But anyway, when you dump the gas on the ground and you light it with a lighter, Now keep in mind, when you dump the gas on the ground, it's only there temporarily. Right as you leave that section and come back, that gas disappears. I just wanted to point that out in case you're like, hey, I'll pour this gas on this body and I'll go get my lighter and then I'll light it. No, you need to pour the gas there and immediately light it, because if you don't and you come back, that gas will be gone. As well as that, there was some frustrating backtracking experience in the game where sometimes there's these large map areas where you got like running around. The beginning is not that bad. The trenches are a little bit more straightforward, but these bigger areas, like bigger open areas, and backtracking, you have to run between these specific paths to be able to get back to certain points. It can be a little frustrating and a little tedious here and there, because while it is a classic Resident Evil style, it is a little bit more open. It's not just like all in one mansion. It takes place in many locations, which I really liked, but sometimes the backtracking can be a little frustrating. I can see some people getting a little bit annoyed by this. The next one is that this one's going to be, depends on the person. In the game, they kind of introduced the idea of the main character about you killing Germans, which I really, really like the implications of how this is introduced into the game, where the more you kill people, what's his name? Of course, they're not monsters, they're actual people. The main character's aim will get worse as he's PTSD. He's stressing, he's freaking out about the fact of what he's doing. So the more people you keep killing, the harder it is your aim is. Which is a cool concept and idea, but I probably would have preferred it the reverse, where at the beginning, your aim is awful, and maybe the first person you kill, the main character actually like throws up or something like that, because they always say the first kill is the hardest. And I would have probably preferred the opposite. As you kept killing people, your aim kept getting better and better and better because you're getting so desensitized. It always reminds me of that classic phrase from Metal Gear Solid, the first one on PlayStation 1, where Meryl is like, once I started thinking about my bullets tearing through those people's bodies, I just froze. And Solid Snake says that sadly, unfortunately, killing is just one of those things that get easier the more you do it. I think that would have been cooler, but again, it all depends on the person. Some people real life, I'm talking about real life here, that some people may just get more and more stressed with the fact that you keep killing real life people, which I did love how they depicted Germans in this, where they're just not the bad guys. Like, you actually can kill a random NPC enemy walking around, just random one. It's not even a scripted event or anything. And once you kill him, you search the body, and he'll have a picture of his daughter on him, or his wife, or his brother, or something like that. It just gives you these feeling that these are just normal people like you, and they are just there. They don't want to be part of this war. They don't want to kill people either, but they have to do it. And I like how the game tries to tell that story and about the gruesomeness of World War One, because World War One is a horror fest in terms of how many needless death and how gruesome the battles were and everything like that. I know World War II is more popularized in terms of media and presentation because it's got all the cool tanks and weapons and stuff like that, but World War I was a lot of trench fights and a lot of mud fights and all this other stuff, and among other things. It's just there's a lot more darker story to be told in World War I. But overall, I really enjoyed this game. It is disappointing this Deluxe Edition isn't the most complete version of the game, and there's some minor bugs and hiccups, but I didn't experience anything that prevented progression. Nothing that interrupted my flow of the game. On Rise, I beat the game. I got 2 endings. I got the bad, or somewhat survived bad ending, as well as then I got the secret true ending. So I got 2 of the endings. There's a few other endings. Maybe there could be a bug or issue with those other endings. Maybe. I doubt it. But I didn't run through the game again. I wanted to. Actually, as I beat this game and started recording this video, I was already immediately hooked to play the game all over again. I really enjoyed the game. It was very simplistic. I don't know if it was just one person who developed the game, but for the most part, this clearly was made by a small team. I know it's not really indie because I think it was somewhat funded by Team 17. I don't know how much Team 17 was involved in the development of the game, but overall, these are the kinds of games I love. I love the simplicity. I love the graphics. I even think the background is pre-rendered. I'm not entirely sure. Just certain angles and shots don't feel like it's part of the environment. I'm not entirely sure. But I had a blast playing this game. This is definitely a massive hidden gem on PlayStation 5. And it's only available on PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch at the time of making this video. I'm definitely going to be interested in picking this game up on the Switch because I can see this game becoming a really hidden gem both on PlayStation 5 and on the Nintendo Switch. If you're looking for, it is a survival horror game, but I wouldn't really call it horror. It's just more of a, I don't know how to explain it. The horrors of reality. The fact that something like this, well, yes, I'm not going to say this is historically accurate or anything like that, but I'm just saying that versions of this in real life has happened, and it's way worse. This is trying to be a video game by all means, but I really like this. I think it's a very unique experience. If you love these kinds of games, weapon upgrading, puzzle solving, and just as well as backtracking, as well as trying to solve puzzles, get keys, upgrade weapons, a merchant, you can sell items. If you love all that stuff, this should be right up your alley, and I really recommend it. And before I end this video, I do want to give a bit of advice. There is moments where you need to memorize a certain puzzle if you want to get the true secret ending. I would give you some advice. Make sure you memorize all your brother's paintings. Just let you know that. That's the hint. Whether draw it down on a piece of paper or take a picture of it, because you're going to be upset when you realize that you don't remember. So just keep that in mind. Remember your brother's paintings. That's the best advice I can give you, and in which order of that painting. Just a little hint so you don't get a bad experience. Luckily, I barely remembered, but sometimes I'm weird like that. I can have great memory on some stuff, but I can remember a person I just talked to 10 minutes ago about what their name was. I'm weird like that. But so again, thank you all so much for watching. I will provide links down in the description. If you're interested in a copy, highly, highly recommend this experience. It was really good. Too bad, like I said, it's not the actual complete version of the game, but it is a working, complete physical copy for what it is on disc. And I'm happy with that. So again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye-bye!